Hey guys! Tonight we're diving headfirst, or maybe more like slowly sinking backwards, into the surprisingly mundane, yet endlessly fascinating, world of how Roman emperors, those absolute titans of their age, actually managed to kick back after a long day of, well, emperoring. Imagine, if you will, the weight of the known world resting squarely on your toga-clad shoulders. You've just spent hours mediating disputes, perhaps overseeing a new aqueduct project, or maybe even signing off on a few executions. Don't worry, we're keeping it PG-13 here. Remember, you've navigated the treacherous currents of senatorial intrigue, dodged assassination attempts, and probably endured a banquet with too much fish sauce. Now, the sun dips below the Palatine Hill, casting long shadows across Rome. What do? Do you pop open a scroll and catch up on the latest gladiatorial gossip? Do you just collapse onto a pile of silk cushions? Tonight, we're going to find out. And let me tell you, by the time we're done, you probably won't survive this epic journey through imperial relaxation. You'll be so chilled out. You'll be horizontal. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, let me know in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is for you right now. It's always cool to see how far these sleepy stories travel. Now, dim the lights. Maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum. And let's ease into tonight's journey together. You're standing in the bustling heart of Rome, the clamor of the Forum still echoing in your ears. But your mind is already drifting. You've just completed a particularly grueling day of decrees and delegations, and the thought of returning to the cramped, public-facing confines of the imperial palace fills you with a familiar weariness. No. What you crave, what every emperor worth their salt craved, was escape. And that, my friend, is where the imperial retreat comes into its own. Think of it not just a house, but an entire complex, built specifically for one purpose: your relaxation. We're talking sprawling villas, strategically placed in prime locations, far from the madding crowds of the city. Take, for instance, Hadrian's Villa at Tivoli. It's not just a villa, it's practically a small city in itself, a testament to one man's desire for beauty, solitude, and a very, very long nap. You could spend days, weeks even, wandering its grounds, discovering new architectural marvels around every bend. Imagine walking through the Poesile, a massive rectangular pool surrounded by porticos, perfect for a shaded stroll on a hot afternoon. Or perhaps you'd prefer the Canopus, a long, narrow pool replicating a sacred canal in Egypt, flanked by statues and leading to a grotto. It's a little slice of international tranquility, right in your backyard. Historians still argue whether Hadrian's Villa was primarily a working palace or a pure pleasure retreat. Some scholars suggest it was a functional administrative center for much of his later reign, allowing him to govern away from the incessant pressures of Rome. Others contend its sheer scale and the sheer whimsy of some of its designs point to a man obsessed with personal reflection and leisure, a place to decompress and truly be himself. Perhaps it was both, a glorious fusion of duty and delight. You can almost picture him, the weight of empire temporarily lifted, sketching out new architectural ideas on a wax tablet, or simply enjoying the perfectly manicured gardens. It wasn't just Tivoli, though. Emperors had a whole network of these opulent bolt holes. Nero, for all his eccentricities, certainly knew how to build a pleasure palace. His Domus Aurea, the golden house built after the Great Fire of Rome, was a sprawling, gilded monument to excess and relaxation. While controversial due to its appropriation of land and resources, it offered an emperor unparalleled opportunities for private indulgence. You'd find frescoed ceilings depicting mythical scenes, dining rooms with rotating ceilings that showered guests with flowers and perfumes, a truly quirky tidbit. That one, and vast artificial lakes. It was designed to impress. Yes, but also to envelop the emperor in a bubble of luxury, where the cares of the world could be momentarily forgotten. You can almost hear him strumming his lyre, oblivious to the whispers of discontent outside, thinking, "This is the life." It's like having your own personal theme park. Only instead of roller coasters, you have frescoed grottos and lakes, and probably better snacks. After retreating to your glorious villa, the first order of business for any self-respecting Roman emperor was often the bath. This wasn't just about getting clean. It was an elaborate ritual, a social hub, and a key component of imperial relaxation. You step into the frigidarium, the cold room, and the initial chill makes you shiver, a stark contrast to the oppressive Roman heat you've just escaped. But it's invigorating, a wake-up call for the senses before the real soothing begins. You move through the tepidarium, the warm room, allowing your muscles to slowly unwind, the gentle heat coaxing out the day's tension. It's like a warm hug, preparing you for the main event. Then, the caldarium, the hot room, envelops you in a steamy embrace. You feel the sweat begin to bead on your skin, carrying away impurities and stress. Slaves attend to your needs, perhaps scraping away dead skin with a strigil, a curved metal tool. Imagine a very fancy, historically significant back scratcher. It's a moment of pure physical release, a full-body reset. This wasn't just a quick splash, it was a multi-hour affair, often accompanied by massages, oil applications, and even light exercise. It was a sensory journey, a symphony of heat, steam, and human touch, designed to lull you into a state of profound calm. Historians still argue whether the extreme temperatures of the Roman baths were truly beneficial or just a cultural preference. Some modern medical experts suggest the sudden shifts between hot and cold could be jarring, while others point to the therapeutic effects of sweating and muscle relaxation. Regardless, for the emperors, It was an indispensable part of their routine, a public display of wellness, even if they often had private bathhouses within their villas for ultimate seclusion. A quirky tidbit, some emperors were known to use bathwater infused with herbs, or even, in more decadent periods, exotic perfumes, making the experience even more luxurious. Imagine soaking in water that smelled of rose petals and saffron. Talk about self-care goals. Once cleansed and refreshed. The next crucial step in the imperial unwind was the banquet. And these weren't your average Tuesday night dinners. These were elaborate affairs, designed to stimulate all the senses and provide a true escape from the day's burdens. You recline on a triclinium, a dining couch, your body still humming from the bath, as course after course is brought to you. Think exotic dishes, roasted peacock, dormice stuffed with nuts, oysters from distant shores, all washed down with copious amounts of fine wine, often diluted with water. Of course, to keep things relatively civil, it was a feast for the eyes as well, with dazzling silver platters, intricate glassware, and sometimes even live entertainment. The conversation would flow as freely as the wine, ranging from philosophical debates to witty banter. This was a time to relax with trusted friends and advisors, to let your guard down, albeit subtly. You might hear a joke about a senator who tripped over his toga or a witty retort about the latest chariot race. It was a chance to connect on a personal level, to reaffirm loyalties, and simply to enjoy the company of others without the weight of official protocol. The soft murmur of voices, the clinkings of cups, the scent of roasting meats. It all blended into a symphony of imperial leisure. It's a far cry from ordering pizza and binging Netflix. But the underlying desire for comfort and camaraderie remains surprisingly similar, just with significantly more toga action. With a satisfied sigh after a good meal, you might then turn your attention to more active forms of relaxation, for even emperors needed to move. The image of a Roman emperor might conjure visions of stoic figures on thrones, but many were surprisingly keen on physical fitness and engaging games. You find yourself in a private palestra within your villa, a dedicated exercise ground, perhaps shaded by ancient trees, the air fresh after a long day. Here, you could engage in various forms of exercise designed to keep the imperial physique in fighting shape, or at least in not completely out of shape. Imagine sparring with a skilled trainer, the clang of practice swords echoing softly, your breath coming in measured gasps. This wasn't combat to the death, of course, but a rigorous workout, honing reflexes and strength. Or perhaps you prefer wrestling, grappling with an opponent on soft sand, testing your endurance and strategic thinking. It's a different kind of challenge from navigating the Senate, but equally demanding on the mind and body. The sweat glistens on your brow, a testament to the effort. And afterwards, the sense of accomplishment is almost as satisfying as winning a major battle. Almost. Historians still argue whether imperial physical training was primarily for military readiness or simply for maintaining health and appearance. While emperors certainly needed to project an image of strength, many genuinely enjoyed the physical exertion. Some, like Augustus, were known for their simple routines, including ball games and riding. A quirky tidbit, Emperor Commodus, notorious for his gladiatorial obsession, actually participated in the arena himself, though often with blunt weapons and fixed outcomes. While certainly a show, it also speaks to a desire for physical engagement, albeit a rather extreme one. You can almost hear the crowd, or rather, your carefully curated audience of trusted guards, cheering you on. Beyond direct physical exercise, emperors also found relaxation in various games, both intellectual and recreational. Think of board games, not unlike chess or backgammon, played on intricate boards with beautifully carved pieces. These were opportunities for strategic thinking, a mental workout that mirrored the complex political maneuvering of the day, but in a low-stakes environment. You might challenge a trusted advisor to a game of Ludus Latrunculorum, a strategy board game, or perhaps Tabula, a game similar to backgammon. The quiet click of the pieces, the focused gaze across the board, the gentle hum of concentration. It's a peaceful scene, far removed from the clamor of the forum. Then there were the dice games, often played with ivory or bone dice, a roll of chance bringing excitement and a touch of risk to the imperial downtime. While gambling was officially frowned upon, it was certainly a common pastime, even among the elite. Imagine the satisfying clatter of the dice as they tumble across the table, the slight flutter of anticipation as they come to rest. It's a simple pleasure, a moment where fate, not policy, dictates the outcome. It's the ancient Roman equivalent of a casual poker night, just with more tunic wearing and probably better wine. These games provided a welcome diversion, a mental palate cleanser after a long day of decision-making. You're not just moving pieces, you're moving your mind into a space of pure, unadulterated recreation. It's a refreshing change of pace, and frankly, a lot less likely to result in a civil war. With the body refreshed and playfully engaged, the imperial mind also sought its own forms of repose, often finding solace in the profound depths of philosophy and the lyrical beauty of poetry. You settle into a comfortable chair in your private library, surrounded by countless scrolls, the scent of aged papyrus and cedar filling the air. This isn't a place for official documents or diplomatic correspondence. This is a sanctuary for thought. A quiet haven where the great minds of the past speak directly to you. You unroll a scroll, perhaps a work by Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, whose writings offer guidance on resilience, virtue, and the acceptance of fate. As you read, the words resonate deeply, addressing the very anxieties and burdens that weigh on an emperor. The Stoic emphasis on controlling what you can and accepting what you cannot becomes a powerful balm for a mind constantly besieged by external pressures. It's like having a wise, ancient therapist whispering calm advice into your ear, reminding you that even an emperor is subject to the laws of nature. You ponder the ephemeral nature of power, the fleeting glory of earthly achievements. And somehow, this contemplation brings a profound sense of peace, dissolving the petty frustrations of the day. Historians still argue whether philosophical study among emperors was genuine intellectual pursuit or simply a fashionable affectation of the elite. While some, like Marcus Aurelius, clearly embodied the philosophical ideals they espoused, others might have dabbled more superficially. A quirky tidbit: Emperor Nero, despite his reputation for hedonism, was actually tutored by Seneca, and at one point showed considerable interest in Stoicism, though his later actions clearly diverged from its principles. It's almost as if he thought, yes, philosophy is great, but also, shiny things and burning cities are pretty cool too. Beyond the rigorous demands of philosophy, emperors also turned to the gentler art of poetry for relaxation and aesthetic pleasure. You might pick up a scroll of Virgil's Aeneid, losing yourself in the epic tale of Aeneas and the founding of Rome. The rhythmic flow of the Latin verse, the vivid imagery of battles and voyages, transports you to another world, far from the mundane realities of governance. Or perhaps the more personal, poignant verses of Horace, celebrating the simple joys of life: love and wine. Strike a chord. Reading poetry aloud, or listening to a trusted companion recite it, was a common practice, allowing the sounds and cadences to wash over you, creating a meditative effect. Some emperors even tried their hand at writing poetry themselves. Hadrian, for example, was known to be a skilled poet, his verses often reflecting on themes of travel, art, and the human condition. Imagine him, penning lines late into the night, grappling with a tricky rhyme or a perfect metaphor. The cares of the empire momentarily forgotten in the creative act. It's a profound shift from signing death warrants to crafting sonnets. It's a reminder that even the most powerful individuals sought solace and expression in the delicate beauty of language. This quiet engagement with literature provided not just entertainment, but a profound intellectual escape, allowing the imperial mind to wander freely, untethered from the chains of duty. It was a true mental vacation, a way to declutter the mental inbox of imperial responsibilities. Having nourished the mind, you often sought solace in the grandeur of nature, meticulously shaped and curated within your imperial domains. Your next stop on this journey of relaxation might be one of your magnificent gardens, a verdant sanctuary where the harshness of the Roman world softened into a harmonious tapestry of flora and flowing water. Imagine stepping into a vast, meticulously planned space where geometry meets organic beauty. Hedges are trimmed into intricate patterns, walkways are lined with cypress trees, and vibrant flowers burst forth in a riot of color and scent. You stroll along a shaded path, the gravel crunching softly underfoot, the air thick with the perfume of roses and jasmine. Here, every element is designed for tranquility and aesthetic pleasure. Fountains gurgle gently, their constant murmur providing a soothing background score, while small streams meander through the landscape, their cool waters reflecting the sunlight. It's not just about pretty plants. It's about creating an entire sensory experience, a deliberate escape into an idealized natural world. You might pause by a statue of a nymph or a god, its marble form gleaming amidst the greenery, adding a touch of mythological calm to the scene. Historians still argue whether Roman gardens were primarily for leisure or also served practical purposes, like growing herbs and fruits. While certainly beautiful, many imperial gardens were also productive, blending utility with aesthetics. A quirky tidbit: some imperial gardens featured automated water features and even mechanical birds that sang. Early examples of sophisticated engineering designed purely for amusement and wonder. Imagine the ancient Roman equivalent of a Disney animatronic show. But in your own backyard, it's truly a testament to the ingenuity and desire for luxurious relaxation. These gardens were more than just pretty spaces. They were extensions of the imperial villa, designed to integrate seamlessly with the architectural grandeur. You might find open-air dining areas nestled among the trees, perfect for a casual meal al fresco, or secluded grottos, offering cool respite on a hot day. The sheer scale of some of these imperial gardens, like those associated with the Domus Aurea or the various imperial villas, was breathtaking. They were landscapes sculpted by human hands to evoke a sense of natural paradise, a deliberate contrast to the chaotic urban environment. Beyond the formal gardens, emperors also sought comfort in grander, more untamed natural settings, particularly those surrounding their villas. You might take a leisurely ride through the countryside around Tivoli, enjoying the rolling hills and the distant view of the Alban Mountains. The crisp, clean air, the rustling of leaves in the breeze, the distant bleating of sheep. These simple sensory experiences could be profoundly calming after a day of managing an empire. It's a reminder that even for the most powerful men, a connection to the natural world, whether manicured or wild, offered a profound sense of peace. You breathe deeply, feeling the tension drain from your shoulders, replaced by the quiet serenity of the landscape. It's the ancient Roman equivalent of finding your zen in a botanical garden, only with more marble and a distinct lack of gift shops, with the mind and body soothed by gardens and philosophical musings. The Roman emperor might then seek a different kind of thrill for his leisure, often found in the hunt. This wasn't just a sport, it was a revered pastime, a display of skill, courage, and a chance to engage with nature in a more primal way. You find yourself astride a magnificent horse, riding through a private imperial hunting reserve, the crisp morning air exhilarating as you track your quarry, the thud of hooves, the baying of hounds, the rustle of leaves. It's a symphony of anticipation. Imagine the focus required, the keen eye needed to spot the elusive stag or wild boar. You grasp your spear, its weight familiar in your hand, and the adrenaline begins to pump as the chase intensifies. This is not the carefully orchestrated ballet of the gladiatorial arena. This is a genuine test of your physical prowess and strategic thinking. The thrill of the chase, the satisfaction of a successful hunt, provided a primal release, a stark contrast to the intricate political games played in the Senate. It was a return to a more basic, fundamental interaction with the world, a chance to prove oneself against the wild. Historians still argue whether imperial hunting was primarily for sustenance or purely for sport and prestige. While certainly a source of meat, the elaborate nature of imperial hunts suggests a strong emphasis on entertainment and the display of imperial virtue. A quirky tidbit, some emperors would even hunt exotic animals brought from distant lands to their private reserves, like lions or ostriches, making the hunts even more spectacular and dangerous. Imagine the bragging rights after taking down a lion with just a spear. You'd definitely be the talk of the next imperial banquet. It was a very hands-on way to blow off some steam. Beyond the grand spectacle of the hunt, emperors also indulged in a variety of more personal, often quieter, hobbies and pastimes. Perhaps you possess a keen interest in collecting rare gems, poring over newly acquired stones, admiring their facets and brilliance. Or maybe you're a connoisseur of ancient coins, carefully cataloging each piece, tracing its history and significance. These solitary pursuits offered a different kind of mental engagement, a chance to immerse yourself in a passion without the pressures of imperial responsibility. It's the ancient equivalent of building model ships or collecting stamps. Some emperors were keen builders and engineers, finding relaxation in overseeing architectural projects or designing new inventions. Hadrian, as we mentioned, was a prolific architect, his villa a testament to his passion. Imagine him, with rolls of plans spread out, discussing the precise angles of a new archway or the flow of water for a fountain. It's a chance to channel creative energy into something tangible and lasting. Or perhaps you enjoy writing, not just poetry, but historical accounts or even personal memoirs, carefully shaping your legacy in words. These varied hobbies provided not just diversion, but a profound sense of personal fulfillment, allowing the emperor to connect with aspects of himself beyond the imperial persona. It was a way to nurture the inner individual, away from the constant scrutiny of the public eye. And let's be honest, sometimes you just need to geek out on something that has absolutely nothing to do with running an empire. Even for an emperor, burdened with the weight of the world, moments of true relaxation often depended on the presence of trusted companions and the quiet comforts of family. You find yourself in a private chamber, away from the bustling court, surrounded by those you genuinely love and trust. This isn't about official meetings or political maneuvering. It's about genuine connection, about letting your guard down in the presence of those who know you best, imperfections and all. Imagine the gentle murmur of conversation with your empress, discussing the trivialities of the day, far removed from the grand pronouncements of state. Perhaps you share a quiet meal, just the two of you, relishing the simple pleasure of each other's company. For many emperors, their consorts played a crucial role not just in politics, but also in providing emotional support and a sense of normalcy amidst the extraordinary pressures of imperial life. She might offer advice, a listening ear, or simply a comforting presence that anchors you to the human reality of your existence. Historians still argue whether imperial marriages were primarily political alliances or if genuine affection often flourished, while many were indeed strategic. There's evidence that strong bonds and affection could develop. A quirky tidbit: Emperor Augustus was famously devoted to his wife, Livia, even relying on her advice in political matters. He reportedly cherished her companionship, making their relationship a rare blend of personal affection and public partnership. It's almost like they were a team, running the biggest, most complicated family business in the world. Beyond your immediate family, your inner circle of trusted friends and confidants provided invaluable support. These were individuals who had proven their loyalty, whose counsel you valued, and with whom you could speak freely, without fear of betrayal or misinterpretation. You might spend an evening in deep conversation with an old comrade from your military campaigns, reminiscing about shared adventures and dangers, the ease of laughter, the comfort of familiar faces, the knowledge that you are truly seen. These are the subtle threads that weave a tapestry of profound relaxation. It's the ancient Roman equivalent of your ride or die crew, only with more philosophical discussions and less late-night pizza. These private gatherings often included poets, philosophers, and artists, not as entertainers, but as cherished guests who contributed to the intellectual and cultural atmosphere. Discussions might range from the latest literary works to the intricacies of astronomy, all in a relaxed, informal setting. It was a chance to engage with brilliant minds without the pomp and circumstance of official audiences. These were the moments when the emperor could shed the immense burden of his public persona and simply be a person, albeit a very important one. The presence of these trusted few created a psychological safety net, allowing you to truly unwind, knowing that in this small circle, you were understood and accepted. It's in these quiet, intimate moments that the true measure of imperial relaxation often lay, a testament to the enduring human need for connection and belonging. As the evening deepens and the last rays of sun fade, the Roman emperor often turned to the delights of music and performance, transforming his private villa into a stage for imperial entertainment. This wasn't just passive viewing, it was an immersive experience, designed to captivate and delight, providing a complete mental escape. You settle onto a comfortable couch in a grand hall, perhaps adorned with intricate frescoes, the flickering lamplight casting warm glows on the scene. A group of skilled musicians begins to play, their lyres, flutes, and citharas filling the air with melodious tunes. The music might be lively and celebratory, inspiring spontaneous dancing, or perhaps more somber and reflective, perfectly suited for contemplation. You close your eyes, letting the harmonies wash over you, feeling the day's anxieties begin to dissolve into the rhythmic pulse. It's a sensory balm, a direct pathway to emotional release. transporting you far from the weighty matters of state. The sheer talent of the performers, their dedication to their art, is a source of quiet enjoyment, a reminder of the beauty that human creativity can bring forth. Historians still argue whether imperial musical tastes were genuinely refined or simply dictated by what was fashionable. While some emperors, like Nero, were keen musicians themselves, others might have preferred background ambiance. A quirky tidbit: Emperor Nero famously performed publicly, not just singing, but playing the lyre, even competing in and winning musical contests, often due to the thinly veiled coercion of his audience. Of course, imagine your boss forcing you to applaud their terrible karaoke performance, but with significantly higher stakes. Beyond music, emperors enjoyed a variety of theatrical and performative arts. You might watch a troupe of actors perform a Greek tragedy, the ancient stories resonating with themes of fate, power, and human struggle. Or perhaps a comedy, full of witty dialogue and slapstick humor, provides a much-needed burst of laughter. Pantomime, a popular form of silent dance and gesture, often with musical accompaniment, was also a favorite, allowing for elaborate storytelling without the need for spoken words. The fluidity of the movements, the expressive gestures, the dramatic narratives, it's captivating, drawing you fully into the performance. Sometimes, the entertainment might be more informal, a bard reciting epic poetry, or a storyteller weaving intricate myths and legends. These oral traditions were vital to Roman culture, preserving history and values, but also providing profound entertainment. Imagine listening to tales of Hercules or Odysseus, their heroic journeys reflecting, perhaps, your own imperial struggles. The communal aspect of these performances, sharing in the laughter or the drama with your inner circle, further enhanced the sense of relaxation and camaraderie. It's the ancient Roman equivalent of going to a concert or a play, only with a much more exclusive guest list. The world outside, with its endless demands, simply fades away, leaving only the captivating spectacle before you. As the last notes of music fade and the final stories are told, the time for true repose arrives, and you find yourself preparing for the most fundamental form of relaxation: sleep. Your imperial bedchamber isn't just a place to lay your head, it's a sanctuary, meticulously designed for comfort, privacy, and an unburdened journey into slumber. You enter a room, perhaps dimly lit by flickering oil lamps, the air cool and still. The sounds of the bustling villa have receded, replaced by a profound quiet. Your bed is a grand affair, perhaps carved from fine wood, draped with luxurious fabrics like silk and linen, and piled high with soft mattresses stuffed with feathers or wool. You sink into its yielding embrace, feeling the day's physical tension melt away. The meticulous care taken in preparing the bed, the sheer quality of the materials, speaks to the Roman understanding of comfort as essential for a good night's rest. It's not just about lying down, it's about being enveloped in a cocoon of warmth and softness. A secure space where the mind can finally disengage. Historians still argue whether Roman emperors truly achieved restful sleep given the constant threats and pressures they faced. While the physical comforts were abundant, the mental burden must have been immense. A quirky tidbit. It's believed that some emperors had guards posted discreetly outside their private bedchambers, not just for protection, but also to maintain an absolute silence, ensuring no disruptive sounds could intrude upon their precious sleep. Imagine having silent, invisible bouncers for your dreams. Talk about an exclusive club. Before you fully surrender to sleep, you might engage in a calming ritual. Perhaps you spend a few moments in quiet contemplation, reviewing the day's events not with anxiety, but with a detached perspective, letting them gently recede. Or maybe you listen to the soft murmur of a nearby water feature outside your window, a consistent, soothing sound that lulls your mind into a peaceful state. Some emperors might have had a trusted servant read aloud a passage from a calming text, the gentle drone of the voice acting as a lullaby. The darkness of the room, the absence of distracting light, further aids the transition to sleep. The goal is complete mental and physical detachment from the cares of the world. No more decrees. No more conspiracies. No more public appearances. Just the vast, comforting expanse of your own consciousness preparing for rest. You breathe deeply, evenly, feeling your eyelids grow heavy. The dreams of an emperor might be as grand or as ordinary as anyone else's. But tonight, they are born from a place of profound relaxation. You drift, the conscious mind giving way to the subconscious. The weight of the imperial crown temporarily lifted, replaced by the effortless grace of true serenity. It's the ultimate form of self-care, a profound surrender to the restorative power of uninterrupted rest. And frankly, after a day of running an empire, you've earned it. Waking refreshed from a night of imperial slumber, your attention might then turn to the cultivation of beauty, finding deep relaxation in the world of art and aesthetics, not just as a patron, but as an appreciative eye. You wander through your private galleries, perhaps within the villa at Tivoli or your palace in Rome, surrounded by exquisite sculptures, vibrant mosaics, and delicate frescoes. This isn't just about displaying wealth, it's about surrounding yourself with objects that inspire and calm the mind. A constant visual feast. You pause before a newly acquired Greek statue, its perfect form embodying classical ideals of beauty and harmony. You trace the lines of the drapery with your gaze, admire the lifelike musculature, and consider the story it tells. The quiet contemplation of art provides a unique form of mental repose, allowing your mind to wander beyond the immediate concerns of governance into the timeless realm of human creativity. It's a moment of pure aesthetic pleasure, a silent dialogue with the artists of the past and present. The interplay of light and shadow on the marble, the vividness of the pigments, it all contributes to a sense of profound serenity. Historians still argue whether imperial art collections were primarily for personal enjoyment or served as propaganda to legitimize power. While certainly a show of imperial might, many emperors had genuine artistic sensibilities. A quirky tidbit: Emperor Hadrian was not just a patron, but also an active designer, rumored to have designed some of the elements of his villa himself. Imagine the architect of the Pantheon also sketching out your next garden statue. Talk about multi-talented, beyond statuary. The very walls and floors of your imperial residences are often works of art themselves. Intricate mosaics, painstakingly crafted from thousands of tiny tesserae, depict scenes from mythology, daily life, or abstract geometric patterns. You might trace the flowing lines of a mosaic depicting a tranquil seascape, imagining yourself sailing on calm waters. Frescoes adorn the walls, bringing vibrant landscapes, mythical narratives, and portraits to life. These immersive artistic environments created a sense of beauty and order, a calming contrast to the sometimes chaotic world outside. Imperial patronage of the arts was not just about acquiring existing masterpieces. It was about fostering new creativity. You might invite a renowned painter or sculptor to your court, commissioning new works that reflect your personal tastes and values. Witnessing the creative process, from the initial sketches to the finished masterpiece, could be a source of immense satisfaction. It's the ancient Roman equivalent of being a modern-day art collector and museum patron. Only you're personally commissioning the next big thing. This engagement with art, both as a connoisseur and a patron, provided a profound sense of cultural fulfillment and a timeless escape from the ephemeral demands of imperial rule. It was a way to leave a lasting legacy of beauty, a quiet act of defiance against the inevitable march of time. And let's be honest, who doesn't love being surrounded by pretty things, especially when you're the one who paid for them? Sometimes, the best way for a Roman emperor to relax was simply to leave, to embark on journeys not of conquest, but of pure tranquility. Your next escape takes you beyond the familiar confines of your villas, on a journey designed for discovery and peaceful reflection. Imagine setting sail on a calm sea. The gentle rocking of the imperial yacht, a soothing rhythm. The scent of salt air invigorating your senses. The vast expanse of the azure water stretches out before you, the coastline receding into a distant haze, and with it, the endless demands of Rome. This isn't about grand processions or military campaigns. It's about quiet movement, a deliberate shift in perspective. You might cruise along the picturesque coast of Campania, gazing at the sun-drenched hills dotted with charming towns. Or perhaps you journey further afield, seeking out remote islands or secluded coves where the only sounds are the lapping of waves and the cries of seabirds. The simple act of travel, of observing new landscapes and cultures, provides a profound sense of renewal. It's a literal change of scenery for a mind often confined by the weight of imperial responsibilities. Historians still argue whether imperial travels were primarily for administrative purposes or genuine personal pleasure, while often serving both roles. Emperors like Hadrian were known for their extensive and deliberate journeys focused on exploration and cultural immersion. A quirky tidbit, some emperors would even oversee the construction of elaborate temporary camps or villas during their travels, ensuring their comfort and leisure even when far from their permanent residences. Talk about glamping. Roman emperor style. You'd never have to rough it. On these journeys, you might pause in charming coastal towns, sampling local delicacies and observing the rhythms of everyday life, a stark contrast to the highly formal existence in Rome. You could visit ancient temples, marveling at their architecture, or explore natural wonders, finding peace in the sheer scale of the landscape. The absence of the constant political pressure, the freedom to simply observe and absorb, was a luxury in itself. It allowed for a different kind of contemplation, a broader perspective on the world and your place within it. Think of the quiet moments on deck, watching the stars emerge over the horizon, their ancient patterns a comforting constant in a world of flux, or the joy of discovering a hidden waterfall or a pristine beach, a private moment of beauty far from the public eye. These journeys were not just about reaching a destination, they were about the process, the gentle unfolding of new experiences. It was a way for the emperor to reconnect with the world beyond the marble walls of his palace, to remember the vastness and beauty that still existed, waiting to be explored. It's the ultimate road trip, but with more chariots, a better supply of fine wine, and no need to worry about traffic, even in the vast and complex world of a Roman emperor. Moments of profound relaxation often came from the simplest of companions animals. Your next gentle delve into imperial leisure brings you to the delightful world of imperial pets and the quiet pastimes they inspired. Imagine a playful dog, perhaps a small Maltese or a swift Laconian hound, bounding towards you in your private gardens, its tail wagging furiously. The pure, unadulterated joy of its greeting, its unconditional affection, is a powerful antidote to the political machinations of the day. You might spend a quiet afternoon petting your dog, feeling the warmth of its fur, listening to its contented sighs. The simple act of stroking an animal has a universally calming effect, grounding you in the present moment, away from the worries of the empire. A dog doesn't care about senatorial decrees or barbarian invasions. It only cares about your presence, your touch, and perhaps the promise of a treat. This unpretentious companionship provided a rare opportunity for genuine, uncomplicated affection, a true solace for a mind often burdened by complex human relationships. Historians still argue whether imperial pets were primarily for companionship or also served as symbols of status and exoticism. While certainly a display of wealth to own rare animals, many emperors clearly had genuine affection for their animal companions. A quirky tidbit, Emperor Hadrian was known to be very fond of his dog, even burying it with full honors and dedicating a poem to its memory. Imagine a tombstone for your furry best friend, but written by the actual Roman emperor. That's dedication beyond dogs. Emperors might have kept a variety of other animal companions. Perhaps a magnificent parrot, brought from distant lands, perched on a stand in your villa, occasionally mimicking sounds or even words. Its vibrant plumage and playful chatter could bring a touch of exotic delight to your surroundings. Or maybe a beloved cat, sleek and mysterious, curled up on your lap as you read, its purring a soft, rhythmic comfort. The quiet presence of these creatures, their independent yet loyal nature, offered a different kind of companionship, one that asked for little but offered much in return. Some emperors even engaged in more active pastimes with their animals, beyond simple petting. Imagine training a hunting bird, like a falcon, observing its sharp eyes and powerful wings as it learns to soar and hunt. The discipline and patience required for such training could be a meditative exercise, a way to focus the mind on something outside of the human realm. These interactions with animals, whether through quiet companionship or shared activities, provided a unique pathway to relaxation. They offered a genuine connection to the natural world, a source of simple joy and unconditional acceptance, a welcome contrast to the often demanding and manipulative human world of imperial Rome. It's like having a fluffy, purring stress ball. Only it's alive and doesn't require batteries. Within the vastness of your imperial residences, there were always hidden passages and secluded spaces, offering the ultimate retreat for an emperor seeking true solitude. Your journey through imperial relaxation now leads you into these secret nooks, places where the clamor of court life completely vanished, leaving only the quiet hum of your own thoughts. Imagine slipping through a discreet doorway, concealed within a wall or behind a tapestry, into a dimly lit, narrow corridor. The air here is still, perhaps cooler, and the faint echoes of the villa fade entirely behind you. You emerge into a small, private chamber, perhaps a study or a meditation room, known only to a trusted few. The walls might be unadorned or decorated with calming, minimalist frescoes, reflecting a desire for simplicity over grandeur. There are no visitors here, no courtiers awaiting your attention, no petitioners clamoring for justice. This is a space of absolute personal sanctuary, a place where the weight of the crown can truly be laid aside. Even if just for an hour, you might settle into a comfortable chair, the silence profound, allowing your mind to simply be. Historians still argue whether these hidden spaces were primarily for security or for genuine personal seclusion. While security was certainly a concern, the sheer tranquility of these areas suggests a deliberate design for retreat. A quirky tidbit: some imperial villas, like Hadrian's, had extensive underground tunnels and cryptoporticus systems, not just for service access, but also for private, shaded walks even in the heat of summer, offering a cool and secret escape from the sun and public view. Imagine having your own private underground labyrinth for a calming stroll. These secret spaces weren't just about physical isolation. They were about mental liberation. Here, you could read a forbidden scroll, write a personal reflection without fear of censorship, or simply stare out a hidden window at a private garden, undisturbed. the knowledge that no one would interrupt, no one would judge, no one would ask for anything, was a profound comfort. It was the ancient Roman equivalent of having a secret man cave or she shed, but with significantly more historical significance and less DIY tools. Sometimes these hidden passages led to secluded baths or private dining alcoves, allowing for intimate gatherings with only your most trusted companions, far from prying eyes and listening ears. Imagine a whispered conversation, a shared laugh, or a moment of quiet contemplation with a single friend, unburdened by the usual formalities. These were the true, off-the-record moments of imperial life, where genuine connection and uninhibited relaxation could flourish. The sense of being completely alone, or in the presence of only your chosen few, in a world that constantly demanded your public presence, was a rare and precious luxury. It's in these hidden depths that the emperor could truly shed the burden of his role, finding solace in the quiet intimacy of his own carefully guarded world. As you reflect on the diverse ways Roman emperors sought solace, you begin to grasp the enduring legacy of their indulgences, how their pursuit of leisure shaped not just their lives, but also the very fabric of Roman society and beyond. The opulent villas, the grand baths, the dedication to art and nature. These were not mere fleeting whims. They were integral components of imperial rule, both personal respite and public statement. You see the echoes of their desire for comfort in the grand country estates of later European nobility, the manicured gardens of Versailles, or even the private retreats of modern world leaders. The very concept of a retreat or a getaway owes something to these imperial precedents. Emperors understood the profound human need to step away from responsibility, to refresh the mind and body, to seek tranquility. They simply had the unparalleled resources to manifest this need on a truly monumental scale. You realize that while their methods were grand, the underlying desire for peace, for beauty, for connection, remains universal. Whether it was through a philosophical debate, a vigorous hunt, or simply petting a beloved dog, the objective was the same: to find a moment of peace in a tumultuous world. Historians still argue whether the extreme luxury of imperial relaxation ultimately contributed to the decline of the empire by fostering decadence, or if it was a necessary component for the mental health of rulers bearing immense burdens. It's a complex question, with no easy answer. A quirky tidbit: the design of Roman public baths, initially inspired by imperial private baths, spread throughout the empire, demonstrating how elements of imperial leisure permeated even everyday life for ordinary citizens. So, your average Roman citizen could get a tiny taste of imperial pampering, albeit on a much smaller scale and with a lot more naked strangers. The imperial embrace of philosophy, poetry, and art also left an indelible mark. The works commissioned by emperors, the libraries they established, and the philosophical discussions they fostered preserved knowledge and beauty for future generations. Imagine a world without the stoic wisdom of Marcus Aurelius, penned in moments of quiet reflection, or without the architectural marvels of Hadrian's vision. These weren't just personal hobbies. They were acts of cultural preservation and creation, shaping the intellectual and artistic landscape of the Roman world for centuries. Ultimately, the legacy of imperial leisure is a testament to the fact that even the most powerful individuals in history needed to unwind. They sought solace in luxury, yes, but also in nature, in intellectual pursuits, and in the simple comforts of companionship. Their attempts to find peace, whether through grand banquets or quiet contemplation, offer a fascinating glimpse into the human side of figures often seen as larger than life. You understand now that beneath the purple robes and laurel wreaths, there was a person, just like you, yearning for a moment of quiet, a chance to breathe, to relax, and to escape the relentless pressures of the day. Their sleep might have been more luxurious, but the fundamental need for it was entirely relatable. As our journey through the imperial pursuit of peace draws to a gentle close, we come to contemplate the twilight of an emperor's reign, and how even then, in the fading light, solace was sought. You imagine an emperor, no longer in the prime of his vigorous youth, perhaps leaning on a cane, his steps slower, his gaze more reflective. The echoes of past battles and triumphs still resonate, but now, a profound weariness settles in. The public demands might lessen, or perhaps the burden feels heavier than ever. But the quest for comfort takes on a new, more poignant significance. In these final years, the focus of relaxation often shifted. The grand hunts might be replaced by quiet strolls through familiar gardens, the philosophical debates by introspective musings. The elaborate banquets might give way to more intimate meals with a handful of closest companions. The physical vigor of earlier days is replaced by a deeper appreciation for stillness, for the simple act of breathing, for the quiet beauty of a sunset over the Tiber. It's a surrender to the inevitable, a gentle winding down of a life lived on an impossibly grand scale. Historians still argue whether emperors faced their mortality with stoic acceptance or lingering regret, while some, like Augustus, planned their succession meticulously. Others might have found peace in a final artistic or architectural project. A quirky tidbit, some aging emperors would commission their own tombs or mausoleums during their lifetime, designing them as places of eternal rest that were as grand and comforting as their earthly villas. Talk about planning ahead for your eternal nap. The pursuit of relaxation in these final moments was often intertwined with a contemplation of legacy, not in a striving, active sense, but in a reflective, accepting way. You might spend hours gazing at the stars, pondering the vastness of the cosmos, feeling the impermanence of even the mightiest empire. The noise of the world softens, and the focus shifts inward, towards the soul's quiet readiness. The trusted few who remain are more than just companions. They are anchors to the world, a reminder of the human connections that outlast power and glory. The imperial bedchamber, once a place of mere physical rest, now becomes a gateway to a deeper, more permanent serenity. You lie there, the soft lamplight casting long shadows across the familiar room, the scents of lavender and cedar filling the air. The final whisper of the day. A soft breeze rustling through the villa's trees. Sounds like a lullaby. The weight of the empire, once so crushing, seems to lift, dissolving into the quiet darkness. You are simply a person, tired from a long, extraordinary life, ready to finally find your ultimate peace, the final relaxation. A profound and complete surrender awaits. You know, it's funny how, even after all this time, the echoes of those ancient lives can still reach us. The Roman emperors, with all their power and their endless burdens, were still just people, searching for a moment of quiet, a breath of peace. They built these incredible villas, these elaborate baths. They filled their lives with art and music and the simple comfort of a loyal pet, all because they, like you, needed to unwind. The pressures they faced were colossal, the stakes impossibly high, yet their quest for calm, for a bit of downtime, feels so utterly familiar. So, as you drift deeper into that peaceful space between wakefulness and slumber, remember those emperors. Remember their long, eventful days, and the very human need to let it all go when the sun finally set. Their world might have been filled with marble and legions, but the quiet moments of relaxation they chased were really no different from the ones you seek tonight. Let the final images of their peaceful gardens, the gentle lapping of water in a secluded bath, or the soft rustle of scrolls in a quiet library guide you now. The cares of your own day are fading, just as they did for those emperors long ago. There's nothing left to do, nowhere else to be. Just ease into the quiet. Let the remaining thoughts gently slip away and surrender to the soothing calm. Sweet dreams, my friend.